Christ walked amongst men in the flesh, he wasn't accepted as the king of the Jews because of his rulership.
And his aesthetics.
Yeah. I can imagine that the Christ's statue was masculine, but as far as being attractive, his apparel was like, think about like John the Baptist, how they say John the Baptist they say he used to dress wild.
He was the man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, John the Baptist, they say he was a wild man. What he say? You strike thunder down or something, they say. But his dress code was, he looked like he appeared to be somebody versus Jesus coming in on a donkey and looking plain.
Dress wild.
He was the man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you got the Pharisees and the Sadducees that their attire was garments with inscripted, you know what I'm saying?
I love that word though, because it's like even when you say, I think of the scripture you gave me this morning.
Not anxious.
Be not anxious. So I'm on that now. But what I did, I went beginning of that chapter and got to it. And that's the beauty of really reading that word, because a lot of people, preachers most of the time, they put the scripture up there and then the flock focus on the scripture. See how you got to this scripture, and then the whole concordance gives you a whole backdrop on what this really means. So I'm digging.
Be not anxious for anything.
Right.
Be anxious for nothing, but through prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, make your request be made known to God.
Right.
Okay. Half the times we don't know what to request. I need to think about that.
Hold that thought. Tell you something. You know the Lord's Prayer, right? I think what many believe is the Lord's Prayer is really not the Lord's Prayer. It's a blueprint or an instruction guide on how to pray. And then they give us 6 petitions within that prayer as to how to pray. So,
furthering its fulfillment. The third petition speaks of God's will, whether the kingdom of heaven exerts its presence. The third petition speaks of God's will, whether the kingdom of heaven exerts its presence. God's will is experienced. The fourth petition addresses it.
So when you hit me with that Philippians 4 this morning, it really put something on my mind. It actually caused me to sit still for a minute, because I was just finna jump out there. And I said, you know what? Let me just take my time and not be anxious. And run that back to me. You just said something about the process you in right now, even with blessing me with some gas money this morning and what have you.
When the opportunity presents itself for Thanksgiving, you gotta take it, because that's a part of making your request be made known. So people talk about trusting the process, but they don't talk about initiating the process.
Initiating the process.
And really, we don't even have to initiate it. God already got the blueprint. All you gotta do is say, hey, God, I recognize what you said in your word. You said not to be anxious. You said through prayer and supplication to make my request be made known.
Right.
With thanksgiving.
Right. So when I didn't mean to cut you out, but when I break that down, it says be anxious for nothing. So basically God is saying relax. And then he's saying, pray, talk to me. Talk to me. See, if you anxious, if whatever you're doing, if it's causing you anxiety, then I couldn't be in your presence.
Right.
So first of all, chill out. And then he spend time with me, and then if only what you do for Christ will last. What's more important than spending time with him? Mm-hmm. And so it doesn't matter what the schedule or what the earthly schedule is when you're spending time with him, because he's paid that debt, and because he owns everything. Okay, it makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah.